Fox Sports welcomes you to Synergy Field in Cincinnati, Ohio. Kickoff weekend 97 in the National Football League as the Cincinnati Bengals host the Arizona Cardinals. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kenny Albert along with Tim Green, welcoming you to the 4th season of the NFL on Fox. Tim, it's opening weekend. Expectations high around the NFL. 30 teams with unblemished records. You played in the league. What's it like on opening day for the players and the coaches?
Opening day in the National Football League is one of the great joys of your life as a player because you can feel the excitement and the energy in the locker room and on the field. It's just wonderful. However, along with that excitement comes a certain amount of anxiety because neither team really knows exactly who they are. They're coming off of the preseason and those pseudo games. They'll be looking to their quarterbacks to determine where they are emotionally and what kind of team that they've got. Now, for Cincinnati, that means quarterback Jeff Blake. Last season, in the last 9 games, he led them to a 7-2 record. He proved that he can be one of the elite quarterbacks in the National Football League. Today, he has to pick up where he left off. Now, on the other side of the ball for the Arizona Cardinals, quarterback Kent Graham is facing something entirely different. He is unproven. This is his first start on opening day in the National Football League. He needs to prove to his teammates that he can lead them to victory today and throughout the season.
And Kent Graham and company must keep their composure against the highly aggressive zone blitz defense, which Nick Dubois has brought with him from the Steelers. Opening kickoff coming up.
You're watching Fox NFL Sunday.
Back in Cincinnati, opening day of the National Football League, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Arizona Cardinals. Vince Tobin in his 2nd season as Cardinals head coach. Bruce Coslett 7-2 in an interim role a year ago, including a perfect 5-0 here at home. That is rookie Corey Dillon, 2nd-round draft pick out of Washington, back deep for the Bengals, along with another youngster, Gunnar Twiner. Kevin Butler, the longtime Chicago Bear, will kick it off for Arizona. We are underway in Cincinnati. Dillon from the 2. Tripped up as he crosses the 25-yard line. 23 yards on the return. Anthony Edwards made the stop. The Cincinnati Bengals, led by quarterback Jeff Blake, who told us yesterday, when we click offensively, nobody can stop us. The men protecting Blake, young and inexperienced, 3 of the 5 linemen in their 2nd NFL season. Kajana Carter, who came back last year from the knee injury. Carl Pickens led the AFC with 100 receptions a year ago. On first down, this is Kajana Carter, who averaged 7 per carry during the preseason. He picks up 7 right there. As we check out the Arizona Cardinals defensively, the front 4 led by the NFL's Defensive Rookie of the Year, Simeon Rice, 12.5 sacks a year ago. The linebacking core, Hill in the middle with McKinnon and Jameer Miller. Aeneas Williams, 3-time Pro Bowler in the secondary. 2nd down and 3. Carter again.
For the Arizona Cardinals to win this game today, what they need to do defensively is dominate the line of scrimmage with their front 7 defenders. Their defensive linemen, their linebackers, they have the potential. They have the size, the strength, and the excitement to do just that against a young and inexperienced Bengals offensive line. The difference could be Kajana Carter's talent.
First down Bengals on their own 36. Play action, fake to Carter, and Blake is nearly picked off. It bounced away from Aeneas Williams.
Whenever you see a miscue like that, it's a miscue. I mean, the ball going so far away from the receiver, you know that it's a misread between Jeff Blake and his receiver, Carl Pickens, on here. Blake expecting Pickens to continue going. Pickens pulling up short and putting that ball into Aeneas Williams' chest. And That's so frustrating for Aeneas. He knows how valuable those interceptions are. Opportunities like that don't come along very often.
Aeneas with 4 interceptions the last 3 years than anybody else in the NFL. Blake on second down. Dumps it outside to the tight end, Marco Battaglia. Short game forced out by the strong safety, Matt Darby.
And now the focus of the Cincinnati Bengals in a 3rd and long situation becomes Simeon Rice. It's a known passing situation, and when you know that you're going to pass and you're facing this Cardinals defense, everyone looks to 97. He's the man that they must contain and keep out of Jeff Blake's face.
3rd down and 8. 3 wide receivers for the Bengals. Blake in trouble, and he is taken down. Eric Swan, 2-time Pro Bowler.
Well, part of the reason Eric Swan is able to get there is because, again, the focus of the attention is on Simeon Rice. Watch it here, and what you're going to see is not only the tackle on him, but Eric Bieniemy, the fullback, the running back, chipping on Simeon Rice. 2 men on Rice means 1 man on Eric Swan, and Swan is the beneficiary.
Lee Johnson's punt headed out of bounds. So the Cardinals head to the offense when we return. Early first quarter from Cincinnati. Kenny Albert, Tim Green from Synergy Field in Cincinnati. The Arizona Cardinals to the offense, first down from their own 31-yard line, following the 37-yard punt by Lee Johnson. 3 wide receivers on first down, and Kent Graham's first pass of the season is complete for the first down to Rob Moore, taken down by first-round draft pick Renard Wilson. Kent Graham, an opening day starter in the National Football League for the first time in his 6-year career. And the men protecting Graham, Brown, the perennial All-Pro, with Selby, Devlin, Redmond, and Wolf. Larry Centers has led the Cardinals in receiving each of the last 4 years, and he is leading the way as Leland McElroy, the second-year man out of Texas A&M, gains 4. The Bengals defensively under Dick LeBeau spent the last couple of seasons in Pittsburgh as defensive coordinator. The 3-4, Dan Big Daddy Wilkinson. The linebacking core, Wilson, the #1 draft pick. Spencer and Ambrose on the corners. Byers and the rookie Tremaine Mack are the safeties. 2nd down and 6, and Frank Sanders makes the catch in Bengals territory.
That shows total confidence on the part of this Arizona offense. Confidence in Kent Graham, confidence in all their receivers, because as we saw in the first play, you'd expect them to go to Rob Moore against Jimmy Spencer. This is Frank Sanders, a young guy against Ashley Ambrose, an all-pro player, one of the best in the league. Kent Graham throwing that ball right on the mark. Frank Sanders running that route perfectly.
Gain of 22 yards. From the Bengals 33, Larry Centers up the middle, not much running room, so it will be 2nd down and 8.
What the Arizona Cardinals have on their offense is a number of running backs. They have Leland McElroy, who was extraordinarily successful a couple weeks ago against Chicago in the preseason. Then they have Larry Centers. Now, McElroy's their scat back. Centers is the guy normally playing fullback, but he will run the ball today, as you saw on that last play, when they're going to run it up the middle. He's very good in the center of the field, running through traffic.
3 wide receivers, the tight end Pat Carter in motion. Graham on 2nd and 8 over the top to Sanders. His second catch, and the stop was made by Tom Tubbleton.
One thing that Kent Graham does have, and we talked about it in the open, we talked about how he doesn't have that proven ability. He doesn't have the total confidence of his team in him, but so far he has looked so sharp here today. And the thing that he does have is the ability to go to the short pass, the safe pass.
Graham has hit on his first 3 pass attempts. Out of the shotgun now on 3rd down and 3. And Graham is now 4 for 4 as Rob Moore picks up another Arizona 1st down.
Well, Kenny, you talked about Dick LeBeau's exciting zone blitz defense that he brought from the Steelers to the Bengals. You're going to see here a Cardinals offensive line that is giving Kent Graham outstanding protection. Now, they only rushed 4, the Bengals, but the Arizona offensive line does a great job of giving Kent Graham the time to find his open receiver.
From the Bengals 17, this is Leland McElroy in for the touchdown.
We talked about Leland McElroy and his ability to have the speed. He is the scat back. He can make things happen as he did in the Chicago game a couple of weeks ago. But also, I want you to watch this man, Larry Centers, and the block that he delivers to spring Leland McElroy into the end zone. Look at that block right there. I mean, he absolutely crushes Jimmy Spencer, and then McElroy has the speed to beat everyone else to the end zone.
And the Cardinals have matched their total number of touchdowns from the 4-game preseason.
Well, it's what we said. I mean, you don't know what you've got in the preseason. They're pseudo games. The Cardinals know that they've got something better than what they thought.
Kevin Butler adds the extra point. Leland McElroy scored the only Cardinals touchdown of the preseason, and he is off to a good start when it counts. Leland McElroy, 1 touchdown as a rookie last year, has given the Cardinals a 7-0 lead, 17-yard touchdown run.
Now, he started out slow last year. I mean, he ran for about 2.3 yards a carry in the first 9 games, and then the last 3 games that he played, he doubled that. He went to 4.7. So Leland McElroy found himself as a rookie last year towards the end of the season after he missed a training camp with a holdout.
Corey Dillon from the 7. Tripped up as he crosses the 25-yard line. 18 yards on the return. Bobby Lassiter made the stop.
As we said in the beginning of the game, Kenny, Jeff Blake is a guy who has it. I mean, he has proven himself to his teammates that he can be a Pro Bowl player, that he can be an elite quarterback, one of, if not the best deep ball in the game. He arcs that thing up there and allows his receivers to run under it with great timing.
First down from the 25. Tajana Carter scampers his way ahead for 3 yards.
Well, Kenny, we talk about Jeff Blake. One of the things he felt coming into this season was he wanted to set lofty goals. And this is actually what he wrote in his playbook during the week. 4 touchdown passes, 65 to 70% of the completion rate, no interceptions, 50 yards rushing. Now that's what he's shooting for in his mind every time he takes the field during this season.
3 wide receivers for the Bengals. Flags on the play. Our referee today is Walt Coleman.
False start, front of the snap, offense number 60. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Now that's Rod Jones, and that's another effect of Simeon Rice. And we talked about it, when they're in a pass situation, all the focus goes to Simeon because he is going to be, if not now, the finest pass rusher, the biggest defensive impact player in the entire National Football League. Rod Jones has got his work cut out for him today.
2nd down and 12. Blake on the draw. Carter across the 30 to the 31-yard line. A gain of 8, so it will be 3rd down and 4 for the Bengals.
One of the ways to soften up a defense's pass rush is to run this play here. It's a simple draw play. Set up like it's going to be a pass, create an open lane for your running back, and then you know that Tajana Carter, with his newfound attitude, is going to take that thing right up the gut this season.
Carter off to a good start here today. He averaged under 3 per carry last year. Today, 4 carries, 22 yards.
There's that deep ball.
And the catch is made for the first down by Darnay Scott.
Did you see the trajectory of that football? That's what Jeff Blake does so well. We talked about it a moment ago. He lofts that ball up there and enables Darnay Scott to run underneath it. Now, Darnay Scott being covered by Tommy Knight, the rookie. And Scott is known for his speed, and look where the placement of that ball is. Placed perfectly so that only Darnay Scott can catch it.
Gain of 27 yards. The Bengals in Cardinals territory for the first time. From the 42. Blake in trouble. And he will take it out of bounds. Simeon Rice coming from behind.
Rice actually got knocked off by his own player, but he put the immediate pressure on Jeff Blake, making him scramble, foiling his play. Watch Rice. He's working alone on Rod Jones. Rod Jones has got him alone. It's a mismatch for the Cincinnati Bengals. And now watch Rice get knocked off by Eric Swan. See Swan? I mean, Swan's going for the quarterback. They're all going for the quarterback, and that's what you love to do. Sometimes you end up knocking your own guy off.
Second down and 9 as Blake dumps it out to Carl Pickens. Forced out of bounds by Tom Knight inside the 35. A gain of 6 yards from Blake to Pickens.
Well, this is a match. Now, coming into this game, the Bengals expected Carl Pickens to be covered throughout the game with Aeneas Williams, but the Cardinals said, no, we're not going to do that. Tommy Knight is a guy who we believe in. Yes, he's a rookie. Yes, he's inexperienced, but we believe in this guy's tenacity and his coverage abilities. We're going to let him cover Scott. We're going to let him cover Pickens. It doesn't matter who. We are not afraid to play this guy.
Here's Blake on 3rd and 2. In trouble, taken down by Jameer Miller. Second sack of the game for the Cardinals.
Once again, believe it or not, Rice helps make this thing happen, because watch the line. They've got to slide towards Simeon Rice. And what that does is it opens up the backside and enables Jameer Miller to beat Kajana Carter one-on-one and get the sack. When you slide the line towards Simeon Rice, if you're Jameer Miller, it means you're isolated one-on-one in the backside, the same way Eric Swan was earlier.
And it pushed the Bengals out of field goal range. Kevin Williams calls for the fair catch. So the Cardinals back to the offense. Tremendous job by the Arizona defense. But flags were thrown, and
you got a little extra music, you know. Nothing wrong with that. Opening day, you know, you want the band, the fanfare.
On the kick, number 89. That penalty is declined. First down.
Extra music, extra Walt Coleman.
Yeah, I mean, you know, now we're going to get a little more music.
Roll it.
Now we're going to go to the commercial. Opening day, you love it.
September 23rd.
Terrific start for the Arizona Cardinals. They lead the Cincinnati Bengals 7-0. 17-yard touchdown run by Leland McElroy.
And Vince Tobin and the rest of the Cardinals have got to be thrilled with the performance of Kent Graham. 4 for 4 already today. That's the way that you build the confidence in your entire team.
Sanders in motion. Movement on the line, more flags.
Yeah, it looked like Cedric Smith moved in the backfield and the line as well.
Full start. From the snap. Offense number 8. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's the tight end, Pat Carter. Smith lined up behind him, saw Carter move, and then he moved. The whole thing turned into a debacle. Here's Carter right here. Just a hair before. Now, as you're an offensive lineman, you always want to get that jump. You're anticipating the count to get the better block.
Pushes the Cardinals back. First down and 15. Short gain. Larry Centers bottled up. John Copeland in on the stop for the Bengals.
You know, you talk about Dick LeBeau's 3-4 zone blitz defense. the whole thing for them starts right in the center here with Kimo von Oelhoffen. I mean, he's in the center, and there he is. He jams up the guard, Anthony Redmond, and he's in on that tackle. And he's a guy who really has to go to work in the National Football League. So Dick LeBeau likes that Kimo von Oelhoffen. He likes his size, and he likes his stoutness on that run game.
Graham in trouble, lofts it up. Rob Moore, the intended receiver, and Graham took a hit.
Now here's the zone blitz. You talk about this blitzing, this high-risk, high-aggressive defense. Here it comes. Here's Tom Tumulty, and he comes. Now what you've got is you've got guys that are switching and slanting and flooping all around, and it confuses the offensive line, allows Tumulty to come absolutely untouched. Not a bad job by Graham just getting rid of this ball. You see that? Absolutely unblocked.
Graham from the shotgun. 3rd down and 14. With Centers. And they did not fool the Bengals that time.
No, they did not. The Bengals came with a swarm. Now, this is a change-up for the Cardinals. It's a passing situation. They know that they're going to get blitzed by these guys. Look at all these guys here. They're all coming towards the quarterback, and what you hope as the Cardinals is that if Centers can beat that first line of defense, if he can beat the blitz, he can pick up big yardage and the first down.
Greg Myers back deep. Jeff Beagles, here comes the rush. And it does take a Cardinals bounce. And another, and another. And finally down on the 36. So it turned into a 51-yard punt. We'll return to Synergy Field in a moment.
Stuff, you know. I mean, that's like Simeon Rice's effect on the rest of the defense. No offense. X-Files has made Fox like a spooky network.
And the visitors off to a good start here in Cincinnati. 1st and 10 for the Bengals from the 36-yard line. Kajana Carter out to the 40. Gain of 4, perhaps 5. As we approach 3 minutes remaining in this first quarter.
You know, Kajana Carter really had a tough task coming into the season because, of course, he was the celebrated #1 pick of the Bengals, the huge contract that blew his knee out instantly, missed his first year, and then almost always in your second year after a big knee injury, you struggle a little bit. And he did struggle last year, but so far this season, the preseason, and even today, he looks like he's back to his form.
2nd down and 5. The pitch back to Carter extends near the 45. Penalty flag on the play. Simeon Rice and Tom Knighton combining on the stop of Carter. And it is against the Cardinals.
Yeah, probably one of the cornerbacks, Aeneas Williams. He said he was going to be physical on those receivers today.
Illegal use of the hands to the face on the defense, number 57. There'll be a 5-yard penalty. First down.
No, it wasn't Aeneas Williams. It was Ronald McKinnon. You know, interestingly, people compare Ron McKinnon to Sam Mills. He's an undersized guy. He gets the job done with extensive preparation and all-out effort on each play. Vince Tobin told us last night, in fact, that he coached Sam Mills when he was with the USFL, and he says McKinnon reminds, it's almost like deja vu. McKinnon and Mills, the same type of body, the same type of effort.
Shit.
Eric Bieniemy on 1st down. His initial carry of this 1997 season. And right now for a McDonald's game break, let's head to James Brown of the Fox Television Center.
Kenny and Tim, they make that Coach Fossil wanted to install a short, quick passing game. It resulted in the longest career pass completion for Dave Brown, 62 yards to Charles Way. That set up the quarterback draw for the touchdown by Brown. 7-0 Giants over the Eagles. Back to Kenny and Tim.
Well, JB, a good start for Jim Fossil's New York Giants. Fossil, the offensive coordinator in Arizona a year ago.
That birthday cake wish must have worked.
Yes, birthday number 48 for Jim Fossil. The enemy on the screen inside the 45 to the 42, a pickup of 6.
That's why Bieniemy really is a weapon for this team. A change-up weapon, a pass receiver and a blocker in the passing game. But what he does here is he catches a short pass, then he uses his running ability to make Aeneas Williams miss. You don't see Aeneas Williams miss too many of those open field tackles. Bieniemy is a weapon who can do it.
3rd down and 2. Bieniemy to the sidelines. Carter looking to cut it outside, and he was tripped up. Jameer Miller was right there. Carter loses a couple, and the Bengals will be forced to punt.
Jameer Miller really is coming into his own. Now, people thought, without Seth Joyner, what is Jameer Miller going to be? Can he make it happen? And he does on that play. He just drives the tight end. Look at the tight end right there on his back. Drives the tight end right into the backfield, cutting off the angle for the running back to get away and making the tackle, just blowing the whole thing up.
Lee Johnson angles it towards the sidelines. So the Cardinals will be pinned deep in their own territory.
He's not having a real good day pooching that thing in there. They want the punter to pooch that thing in there and drop it inside the 20. The last time it ended up on the 20. This time it's on the 18.
Only a 20-yard punt by Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it's not good. It's almost as if you kicked it all the way into the end zone and it's a touchback.
Johnson, the senior-most Bengal, along with Boomer Esiason, the only current Bengals who played in the Super Bowl back in 1989 with Cincinnati. Graham fires to Rob Moore, wrapped up by Jimmy Spencer. And that should do it for the first quarter.
Kent Graham had a smile on his face yesterday when I said, hey, how about Rob Moore, who's 6'3", against Jimmy Spencer, who's 5'9". Graham said, I'm going to be looking for that thing all day.
That's the end of the first quarter from Cincinnati. Cardinals by a touchdown. $7-0 lead for the Arizona Cardinals as we get set for the start of the second quarter. Kenny Albert with Tim Green, and Tim, the people's choice in Phoenix is rookie Jake Plummer, but Kent Graham is quickly quieting his critics.
Yeah, and we said in the beginning that that's what he needed to do. He needed to come out and establish himself because he hasn't so far. But boy, if the first quarter is any indication, the Arizona Cardinals have found a quarterback in Kent Graham. He has looked surprisingly sharp.
Saw the numbers, 5 of his first 6 on second and short. Centers bobbled the football and then gains enough for the first down.
And the reason I say surprising for Kent Graham really is just because what happened in the preseason. His completion percentage wasn't real good. The offense looked kind of anemic. But when we talked to Vince Tobin last night, he said, hey, Kent Graham really didn't get enough reps in the preseason to get anything going, to get a rhythm going. When we talked to Kent last night, he was nervous about it. He wanted to come out and show that he's in tune with this offense.
Oh, God. Here's Graham on first down. Moore could not hang on. It's picked off by Jimmy Spencer. It bounced away from Moore right into the waiting arms of Spencer.
Well, Graham's going to have to carry the interception in his statistics, but Rob Moore delivers this interception into Jimmy Spencer's hands. Again, it's the mismatch in height that they're looking for. Graham puts that ball right where it's got to be. No, you know what? It's not Moore's fault. Spencer tipped it. So you got to give credit where credit's due. The shorter guy with the great coverage, tipping that ball up, catching it himself. Outstanding play by Jimmy Spencer. You know, we talked to Dick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator for the Bengals yesterday, and he acted surprised when we said, are you concerned about Jimmy Spencer against Rob Moore? He said, absolutely not. Spencer can cover this guy all day.
Blake on first down, steps up, airs it out, and here's Williams waiting, and he picks it off. So one play later, Williams strikes back for the Cardinals, intercepting Jeff Blake.
Well, we talked about Jeff Blake having the best long ball, or one of the best long balls in the business. That was a long ball that was underthrown. Jeff Blake enabled Aeneas Williams to come back, and boy, if you put that thing up for Aeneas, he is going to battle, and he's going to get it. Look at this here. See, Scott's got to come back. Aeneas comes back. Aeneas has got the inside body position, so it's not a well-thrown ball by Jeff Blake. And it is an outstanding presence by Aeneas Williams to turn, to see that ball, to find it, and then go get it.
Williams looked like the receiver there.
Yeah, I mean, that's where he threw the ball. He threw it to the inside, but Aeneas Williams had the inside position, and Jeff Blake also threw it short.
Make it 22 interceptions for Aeneas Williams since the start of the '94 season, more than anybody else in the NFL.
And what a fine person, too. You know, he's all excited now because his wife just had a baby girl, 5 months old. I talked to him yesterday, and he is just loving life, not only with his new daughter, but with his first interception of the year.
He almost had one earlier.
I know, I was going to say, you know, remember he dropped that one earlier? You don't see him drop too many of those because he does understand the importance of when you get those limited opportunities, you take advantage of them.
He never dropped the popcorn. He used to sell popcorn at the New Orleans Superdome.
Now, how do you know he never dropped it? He's not going to tell you if he dropped it. You know?
Would he tell you if he dropped a football?
Well, we can see it. We got the replay, but the popcorn, you just got to trust him. And you know, nobody's gonna give themselves up as a guy that can't hang on to a thing of popcorn.
So Jimmy Spencer picked off Kent Graham. One play later, Jeff Blake intercepted by Aeneas Williams. So the Cardinals back to work. They start from their own 5-yard line. Leland McElroy cuts it back inside. Nowhere to go. And right now, for a McDonald's game break, James Brown at the Fox Television Center.
Kenny, what will life without Jim Kelly be like? Well, Todd Collins trying to make him forget. 19-yard pass play to the tight end, Jay Reamersma. And on top right now is Buffalo, 7-3, back in the second quarter. Back to Kenny Albert and Tim Green.
Well, living in upstate New York, JB, I can tell you people in that area, in the Buffalo area, were very concerned about that Todd Collins situation. But as you said, it looks like he's filling the shoes or the void left by Jim Kelly.
And Leland McElroy filling one of the voids that was missing during the preseason for the Cardinals. And that was the running game, except for their game in Chicago when McElroy was outstanding.
And the impressive thing about Leland McElroy is he can make yardage even when there isn't a hole. He finds cracks like mercury. I mean, he just finds a way, finds a hole, he slips through and comes out the other side and gains positive yardage.
First down from the 17. McElroy cuts it to the outside for the 20. A pickup of 3. Leland McElroy off to an outstanding start. 5 carries, Tim, 36 yards.
And as I said, he will make a hole, or he'll make yardage even when there isn't a hole. Part of the reason there's not a hole on that play comes from the backside. Watch Dan Wilkinson and watch how he just collapses the line of scrimmage. Look at that. He takes away the entire right side of the defensive line and makes McElroy bounce that thing to the outside. This is a big, powerful man who came in the league as a defensive tackle. Now he's playing end in this 3-4.
On second down and 7. Pickup of 3. Larry Centers. And the stop was made by Tom Tumulty.
John Copeland is the guy who's not getting up.
And while the medical staff checks Copeland out, we'll step out. Back in a moment. Hot, humid afternoon. Arizona-type weather here in Cincinnati.
Nothing these guys aren't used to. There's Copeland. He didn't even take his helmet off, so you can expect that he'll be back.
Third down and 4. And another Cardinals first down as Frank Sanders crosses midfield, finally forced out of bounds by Ashley Ambrose, a gain of 27 yards.
I think a lot of times people forget about Frank Sanders because Rob Moore is such a big target and such an outstanding receiver. But look at Frank Sanders, how he uses his head. He finds a soft spot in the zone and he sits down in it. And then Kent Graham uses his head and he finds him. So when you have a zone coverage like that, where the defenders are sitting in one spot. You go to the open part of the field and you sit down.
The pitch back to LaShawn Johnson, flags thrown. Johnson's first carry of the game. He was taken down by Ricardo McDonald.
I'm not going to venture a guess because I was wrong on the first one, and my mom always told me if you don't, can't be right, don't guess.
How about holding Cardinals?
Well, that wasn't a guess. You saw the signal. You read it.
And we will wait and hear from Walt Coleman who the guilty party was.
Holding on the offense, number 74, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Rob Seldy, the left guard.
Well, Selby's right here, and he's working on a big load in there. And whenever you're working on a big load, there it is. He pulls him down right there. Whenever you're working on Big Daddy Wilkinson, the temptation is just grab that stuff, try to pull it down.
Graham looked right, now looks left, and LaShawn Johnson looked upfield before he held on to the football.
The thing LaShawn Johnson has and gives the Cardinals is tremendous speed and acceleration. The thing that he doesn't have is a consistency. And Vince Tobin told us last night, he said, LaShawn is outstanding, but I worry about him, getting focused in on the game. He gets so excited sometimes that he doesn't do what he should do, and that's use the speed. Now, the reason why he dropped that play was just pure excitement. The ball was there, LaShawn saw open territory, got excited and lost it.
On second down and 20. That one was underthrown. The intended receiver, Anthony Edwards. Jimmy Spencer on the coverage, so it will be third down and 20.
Well, that's good coverage by Spencer. Now, you think, oh, it's a bad pass by Graham, but it wasn't. It was a timing pass, and Spencer knocked off the timing by getting his hands on Anthony Edwards and mugging him at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Graham started out 4 for 4, only 2 for 6 since then. Working out of the shotgun on third and long. Centers out of the backfield. Across the 45, not nearly enough for a Cardinals first down. Don Copeland back in the game, combining on the stop with Javon Langford.
Well, there's a flag on the play, or I don't know if there is. It came out, it went back. But I'll tell you what that is. That's defensive speed, and that's hustle. Because Copeland came from the other side of the field to make that tackle after rushing the passer. Now the flag's back out. Now
inadvertent flag.
Yeah, I mean, if the refs can drop one, I guess our graphics guy's allowed to drop one every once in a while.
Right out of the Fox box. Greg Myers back deep. Nearly blocked by Gunnar Twiner. Myers across the 25 to the 29-yard line before he was tripped up by Tommy Bennett. 45 yards on the punt. 18-yard return by Myers.
September 8th.
7-0 lead for the Arizona Cardinals early in this second quarter from Cincinnati. Coming up tonight at 7 Eastern, Fox presents a 1-hour special, Diana, the People's Princess. That's tonight at 7, right here on Fox. Followed by The Simpsons, King of the Hill, and The X-Files. Bengals back to the offense. First and 10 from their own 29-yard line. The handoff goes to Kajana Carter up the middle across the 40 to the 44 for a Bengals first down, a gain of 15 yards.
This run play is a trademark of the Cincinnati Bengals. The guy that makes it happen is, believe it or not, the tackle Willie Anderson. It's a tackle pull. You see that? There's a big guy, 340 pounds. He pulls around, puts the block on the linebacker, and that's what springs Kajana Carter. Now, later in the game, the Bengals will give this exclusive run look. They'll fake it and throw a pass.
From the 44, here's Carter again. Across midfield into Cardinals territory.
Boy, that's running up the middle. I mean, that is running up the middle. Kajana Carter said, I'm going to be a better runner in the National Football League because I watched Garrison Hurst last week run it up the middle. Watch it. Now, there's a hole there, But then after the hole, look at that. He's in traffic, and he runs hard, and he runs heavy, and then he puts his shoulder down and slugs out a couple more yards. That's tough running up the middle. That's the difference in this young man this season.
Yes, Carter and Hurst teammates last year. Hurst, the former Cardinal, now in San Francisco. Here's Carter once again. The Bengals have not had a 100-yard rusher since 1992, 65 games ago. In the first half alone, Carter is more than halfway there.
Yeah, and I would expect that he's going to do it today and other times today. Now watch again. Here's Willie Anderson, and he's pulling. They're setting up the Cardinals defense. They're saying, okay, when Anderson pulls, guys, we're going to run the football. It's a unique play. You're going to see it a couple times, and then I promise you, okay, the Bengals will fake that thing, and Jeff Blake will try to beat them deep.
Timeout called by the Bengals. We'll return to Synergy Field right after these words.
Well, when you're up 7-0 as the Cardinals are on opening day, I mean, this is what you do when you're the quarterback. You sit down on the bench next to Dick Jamieson, the offensive coordinator. You know, you discuss the things. You look at the fax photo from upstairs, and it's kind of a relaxed atmosphere. You'd think these two guys were at the beach. All they need is a drink with an umbrella.
It's hot enough.
It is hot enough.
3rd down and 3. Here's Blake over the top. Flags thrown. Just enough for the first down. Jameer Miller and Eric Hill combined on the stop of the tight end Tony McGee. As Walt Coleman sorts things out.
Defensive holding, right? Interpret that sign language. They probably mugged McGee, don't you think?
On the defense, number 5, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's Jameer Miller. He had McGee, had him wrapped up, but McGee did a great job of hanging on to that ball anyway. But Miller certainly has stood out earlier in the game for his sack and a nice play, nice tackle behind the line of scrimmage. You always want to stand out for those things, but you don't want to stand out for the holding.
Darnay Scott in motion. First down from the 44. Blake to a wide open Carl Pickens. Finally chased down by Brent Alexander. Second catch of the day for Pickens. A gain of 16 and another Bengals first down.
Now, what they did on that play was they created confusion with the motion that you talked about, the motion of Darnay Scott, and they're preying upon the mind of the rookie Tommy Knight, because when the wide receiver comes in motion and creates a pair, it changes the coverage, and then you see the confusion, and then you see Knight coming into the picture, but too late.
First and 10 on the Cardinals 29. Carter, good second effort to the 26.
But Carter is the guy that made positive yardage on that, and that's the kind of domination up front that I talked about.
And he lost his helmet.
Yeah, I mean, he ran so hard he ran out of his helmet. You get a force vector going forward, and then you get hit and stopped. And if you're going hard enough forward, the helmet keeps going and you stop. Now watch it here. I mean, the line of scrimmage is being controlled by the Cardinals, but Carter just scoops his way out, and Swan's the guy who gives him the opposing force vector, stops Carter, and then the helmet just keeps flying.
Gain of 3 by Carter. 2nd and 7. Tight end McGee as Alexander climbs up his back.
That's just a nice read by Jeff Blake. I mean, this is a veteran quarterback. We talked about people believing in him. This is why you believe in a guy, because he reads the blitz. He knows that guys are coming at him right away, and so what he does is he says, all right, it's a hot route. See that instant pressure? The blitz is on. He dumps that thing off to his tight end, and it's a positive play for the Bengals. Now 3rd and short.
55-yard drive, 3rd down, and Blake looking for Pickens as the field goal unit comes on.
That's tough. I mean, that was an erratic throw and something that you don't see very often from Jeff Blake. And I mentioned it at the beginning of the game. This is a guy that exudes confidence.
Doug Pelfrey, the most accurate field goal kicker in NFL history. At 81%. He was just over 82% last year. This a 38-yard attempt. And Pelfrey, perfect in the preseason, puts the Bengals on the scoreboard. 7-3, Arizona. For the game and time in your area.
And you want to see that Dodgers thing because it's tight. I mean, it's a tight race in the National League West. There are only 2.5 games in front of the Giants, so every game counts. And that's why you love baseball on Fox this time of year. Every game counts.
And a big baseball afternoon here in Cincinnati tomorrow as Pete Rose Jr. will make his Major League debut. There's Kevin Bowie out across the 35 to the 36-yard line. A return of 20. So Kent Graham and the Cardinals back to the offense. Graham chatting with offensive coordinator Dick Jamieson.
Yeah, they look a little more serious than they did before when they were just kind of lounging around discussing the photo facts.
Graham 7 of 11. He was picked off by Jimmy Spencer.
Yeah, and remember that interception? I mean, there's not much you can do about that. Graham had the throw, and Rob Moore was there, but Spencer just had outstanding coverage where he tipped that ball up and then caught it himself.
On first down, Leland McElroy finds a hole out across the 40. McElroy has scored the only touchdown of the game, a 17-yard run midway through the first quarter. His brother Reggie, released last week by the Denver Broncos, 37 years of age. And Reggie quoted in the Arizona newspapers as saying, hey, I wouldn't mind finishing my career playing with my little brother.
Yeah, but you know, there were two waves of McElroys. You know, they had like 13 in kids in the family, but Leland said he was in the second wave. Reggie was in the first wave, and they didn't know, they weren't as close to the guys in the first wave.
McElroy across the 45.
And there again, McElroy exhibiting just that knack, that slipperiness, that mercury-like ability to just slip through and find the smallest cracks in the line of scrimmage and get positive yardage. You know, they say he's small, but he's not that small. I mean, he's a pretty stout guy. I mean, he's not tall, but he's about 205 pounds, so he's got some muscle to him.
The chains come out. Cardinals just short.
It'll be third down, less than a yard.
McElroy exits with 45 yards on 7 carries.
I said 205. He's 212. He's even stouter than I thought. And at 5'9", you know, packs a little bit of a wallop.
In this heat, he could be down to 205.
Yeah, he probably is by now.
3rd and inches. Graham on the quarterback sneak.
That's just surge. That's believing in your offensive line. That's Dick Jamieson on the sideline saying, all right, you see these big guys here? You see Redmond and Devlin and Rob Selby? I believe in those guys. These are my horses. They're my inside guys. There's Selby. There's Lomas Brown. And I believe in these guys. We're going to go nose to nose with those big thugs on the Bengals, and we're just going to drive them out of there. We're going to blast them out and pick up the first down with the simplest play in the book, quarterback sneak.
From the 47, a bit of trickery from Vince Tobin, and Graham throws it away.
Well, you would think if you saw the Cardinals play the preseason game against the Chicago Bears that they would have abandoned this flea flicker play because it didn't work against the Bears, and it doesn't work here against the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals bringing linebackers and blitzing Tremaine Mack. You see Mack there, 34, and Mack really loses a sack. And then there's Brenson Buckner. So when you run that flea flicker, it can work. but it can't work when you're playing against a team that's going to blitz you and send safeties no matter what.
Second down and 10. Graham swings it out. The intended receiver was Rob Moore. Coverage on the play by Jimmy Spencer.
Remember how I said in the beginning, Kenny, that we talked about how Kent Graham needs to come out and establish himself because he hasn't really done this before. This is the first time he started on opening day in the National Football League. He's been around a while. And he came out and he went 4 for 4 and he looked very sharp. But he needs to continue to do that. He's only been 3 for 9 since then with an interception. He needs to reestablish himself.
Out of the shotgun on third down. The pass complete for the first down. Frank Sanders down the sideline to the 36, a gain of 17 yards.
Well, that'll do it. I mean, you want to reestablish yourself, get into a third long situation. Known passing down. You know that rush is coming. You know it's hot after you. And then you find Frank Sanders and you deliver it right on the mark. And there's Sanders working across. Rob Moore running off the over the top coverage, clearing it out for Frank Sanders.
Sanders has been the favorite target for Kent Graham this afternoon, his 4th catch of the day. Pitch back on first down to McElroy.
Man.
Oh, is he hit by Tom Tumulty.
Tom Tumulty hit him so hard, I think McElroy's grandkids are going to feel that. You know, Tumulty is one of those guys, blue-collar, effort type guy. Watch him right here. He runs along. They string it out. They do a nice job of stringing this out. He breaks through, and wham, look at that. Man, he hits him right up underneath the jaw. If McElroy was a quarterback, they'd fine him for that.
Here's Graham in trouble on second down.
Once again, the Cincinnati Bengals and Dick LeBeau bringing the blitz. Tremaine Mack was the guy who knocked him down. So whenever your safety is the guy knocking the quarterback down, you know it's a safety blitz. And it's something that LeBeau and the Bengals will be doing a lot this season. And you see, we've missed you, Dick LeBeau, because LeBeau was a coach back here in the heyday of the Cincinnati Bengals. And now they've got him back, and they've got that tricky defense, that tricky aggressive defense with it.
On third and 10, Larry Sanders does a terrific job to lean across the 26-yard line, and he looks to have just enough for the first down.
They almost disrobed him. I mean, it looked like clothes were going to come off of Larry Sanders. Now, LeBeau, the coordinator for the Bengals, is doing it again. He's sending the safety. You're going to see the safety come from this side of the field. McElroy picks him up, though. That gives Kent Graham the time. He delivers it to Sanders, and then this is all Sanders. Look at that. I mean, look at his clothes. I mean, he almost lost his jersey. If that was a tearaway, the thing's gone. They had those tearaways back when I was in college.
Way back then.
Yeah, it was getting to be a long time.
Well, we have hit the 2-minute warning. First half season opener in Cincinnati. Kenny Albert, Tim Green back in Cincinnati. Bruce Coslett was undefeated as Bengals head coach here at home last year, 5-0. But the Bengals trail the Arizona Cardinals 7-3.
Coslett's a Bengal to the bone, right? I mean, he played here, and then he was an assistant here, and now he's back as the head coach. So this is his territory. He likes it here on what is it, Ohio River?
Part of the family. First down. Here's McElroy punching it outside, down to the 23-yard line.
You know, Kenny, we've talked about the Bengals' zone blitz defense and that aggressive defense. I think you're going to be surprised, or maybe you won't be surprised, to see the effect that the blitz has had on Kent Graham. You see there, he's 5 for 11, only 60 yards and an interception against the blitz. Without the blitz, Kent Graham is 4 for 5. So the blitz having a big effect on Kent Graham's performance.
McElroy up the middle, pushing his way down to the 20 as the clock continues to run. 1:15 remaining in this first half. It will be 3rd down and 4 for the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Sanders makes the catch for another Cardinals first down inside the 3-yard line.
You want to talk about toughness? You want to talk about establishing yourself? How about this guy, Kent Graham? He stands in there and gets hammered by Greg Myers. Watch the free safety come absolutely free up the gut. Wham! Look at that hit. I mean, he nails Kent Graham. Graham just stands there, delivers that ball to Frank Sanders. That's a thing of beauty. I mean, when a quarterback stands in there and delivers a ball the way he delivers to Frank Sanders under that kind of pressure, that's the kind of stuff that makes your teammates believe in you. Not only the teammates, I mean, you know, you talked about Jake Plummer and how people are excited about him in Arizona, and you have to be, because he's a star and all that. But hey, you got to be excited about this guy. When you see a player do something like that, you know he's laying it on the line so his teammates can win.
Second time he has gone to Sanders on 3rd down during this drive. Cardinals 4 for 4 on 3rd down during this drive alone.
And we talked about how the blitz had affected Graham and his numbers weren't as good against the blitz. He really delivered under the heat of the blitz that time.
Well, Tim, coming up on the Dockers Khakis halftime, JB and Terry will bring you scores and highlights from around the National Football League on opening day. And our brand new Fox Sports ticker will have up-to-the-minute stats. We'll also have an update on the Princess Diana tragedy. That's all coming up during the Dockers Khakis halftime.
How about Terry in the pregame show, Kenny? I mean, I love that interview he had with Cordell Stewart, and I saw kind of a sensitive side to Terry that I really didn't know he had.
The past and the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Graham looking end zone. Cedric Smith. Can he hang on? No.
Oh, that hurts you. That just hurts you. You know, Cedric Smith, a backup player, not normally in the lineup. I mean, Sanders is usually the fullback. He gets his opportunity here. He springs free. Now, the pass isn't a beautiful one because you're going to see it's thrown a little behind him. But still, that's one that he will be thinking about on the plane ride home and all night tonight. That keeps you up at night when you drop one like that in the end zone.
Down to 11 seconds remaining. 2nd and goal. This time Smith will try and run it in. And with the second effort, he's got it.
Now we'll forget about it. Now Cedric Smith can sleep at night. Doesn't have to worry about any kind of, you know, melatonin or whatever that sleeping stuff is, or a warm glass of milk. He doesn't need any of it now. He dropped that catch in the end zone. But you said it, Kenny. It's just pure second effort, because watch the surge. I mean, the line of scrimmage is stopped, and there he goes. He stopped there. If he stops and he lets himself be taken down, it's no touchdown. But he works and struggles and forces his way in.
If at first you don't succeed,
hey, you may have something there.
Only the 2nd career rushing touchdown during Cedric Smith's 6-year NFL career. Kevin Butler adds the extra point, and the Cardinals have scored more touchdowns in this first half of their season opener than during the entire preseason. So a 1-yard touchdown run by Cedric Smith, who is Emmitt Smith's lead blocker at the University of Florida. Emmitt in action today against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and JB and Terry will catch you up on scores and highlights from not only the Cowboys and the Steelers, but all the other games in the National Football League this afternoon on the Dockers Khakis halftime. And Tim, I know you are looking forward to checking out the new Fox Sports ticker, up-to-the-minute stats from around the NFL, and we will also update you once again on the Princess Diana tragedy.
Well, the thing about this is this ticker, what that gives you is if you're involved in the fantasy league, now you know where you stand. You know where you stand at halftime, and you know if you got Cedric Smith, you know that he got a touchdown, and it's good stuff for you if you got him on your fantasy football team. But if you're watching another game, you don't get to know about it unless you see the Fox ticker. So you may want to get a sandwich or something, but be quick, get back. See that halftime show.
Now, with regards with regard to Cedric Smith? Do they have categories in fantasy football for blocking? He doesn't get the ball too much.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Let's say you just picked him up late in your draft. And, you know, you're loving life because you just got an unexpected touchdown.
Final seconds of this first half. Gunnar Twiner cuts back the other way. Flag is thrown. Twiner's still on his feet as time runs out, ending the first half of play. 22 yards on the return by Twiner, and the flags against the Bengals. So that will do it for the first half.
We'll come back after the half.
Well, Walt Coleman has lost communication, but we will assure you that is the end of the first half. 14-3 Cardinals lead. JB and Terry with the Dockers Khakis halftime following these messages. Halftime in Cincinnati, where the Arizona Cardinals lead the Cincinnati Bengals by the score of 14-3. Kenny Albert, Tim Green, welcoming you back to Synergy Field on the opening weekend of the NFL on Fox. And Tim, for the Arizona Cardinals, the defense set the tone early, and then the offense took over.
Well, the offense took over, and so did Kent Graham. I mean, Graham really has done what we said he had to do in the beginning of this game, and that is to establish himself and to establish the confidence of the entire team. And this is a Cardinals team that is playing with confidence because they know that Kent Graham is going to do his part. We saw him hang in against a very tough blitz, make a great throw to Frank Sanders to set up the second touchdown, the run by Cedric Smith. But it's really been Graham. And then on the other side of the ball, really, Jeff Blake has not struggled because he's 6 for 9, but he struggled in his third down conversions. That's really been the difference for the Cincinnati Bengals in the first half.
And the Cardinals scored both of their touchdowns on the ground. We'll take a look at the first one, and it's brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT.
Well, once again, the key to this whole thing here is the blocking. And you're going to see that there's blocking up front. The tight end, Pat Carter, he seals the linebacker, and then watch Centers. Look at Larry Centers. He just slams the cornerback, springing Leland McElroy, giving him a great hole, and then you see the speed that Leland McElroy possesses.
17-yard touchdown run, and now we move to the first half numbers.
They're pulling that thing out of the depths of the Fox Research Center. And what you see, Kenny, really is a very even run game, 59 and 57 for each team. But the passing game is where the Cardinals have been outstanding, 135 yards. And again, the key to that is this third down conversion. 6 for 8 for the Cardinals, only 1 for 5 for Jeff Blake and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bengals kick it off to begin this second half, and here's Cedric Smith. And he takes it all the way back to the 38-yard line. So Smith, who scored the touchdown with just seconds remaining in the first half, returns the opening second half kickoff 20 yards. Kent Graham in the first half, 10 of 18. And most impressive about that second touchdown drive, the fact that the Cardinals were 4 of 4 on third down, including 2 third down and 10 receptions by Sanders.
And again, the thing that impressed me the most was the way Kent Graham hung in there against the safety blitz and delivered the ball to Frank Sanders on the 1.
Leland McElroy up the middle, flags thrown.
Man, Kimo von Oelhoffen put everything into that one. And this is a guy that you got to like. I mean, we talked to him yesterday, and he's a nose guard. He'll be holding against the Cardinals, but he's one of those guys, kind of an unheralded guy, but a really delightful character, a guy who struggled with injuries in his first 3 seasons. But now he's got it all worked out. He's healthy. He's going. That penalty there is going to put them back. But, you know, I put together a book on Kimo von Oelhoffen. You know, the thing he missed, I asked him what he missed about Hawaii. He said the thing he missed most is the plate lunch. They give you a lot of food for only $5. believe it or not, he was a volleyball player in high school, and he likes his space. His space is the interior of that line of scrimmage. It's right in here, and Kimo thinks that space belongs to him.
And he takes up a lot of that space. Cardinals keep it on the ground on 1st and 20 as McElroy gains 2 yards.
There he is again. I mean, yeah, he's just in the midst of it all. He kind of smiled when he talked about that plate lunch. And at 305 pounds, I imagine he's put a few of them away.
He said sometimes they're hard to finish.
You know, I didn't believe that. You know, did I? I just said, Kimo, come on. I mean, level with us. I know you could probably go through 2 or 3 plate lunches.
And not only did Kimo von Oelhoffen play volleyball in high school, that was his intention in college before he switched over to football.
That's a big spiker.
Graham swings it out. Anthony Edwards makes the catch. Tackle made by Ashley Ambrose, a gain of 5. So it will be 3rd down and long. And Cardinals, as we mentioned, outstanding today. 6 for 8 on 3rd down opportunities.
Now this one here is a particularly tough situation because it's 3rd and so very long. And what you need when it's 3rd and that long is time. Dick Jamieson needs his offensive line to give Kent Graham time to allow the receivers to get downfield past the sticks.
Well, 4 wide receivers here. Sanders has been the go-to guy on 3rd down. Graham over the middle. Guess who? Frank Sanders.
What a nicely run route. You talk about the sticks. Sanders knows exactly where he's got to go, but Kenny, it started up front with that offensive line. They did an outstanding job of fending off that zone blitz, giving Kent Graham the protection. Now look at all these guys here. They're all bunched up, so the offensive line doesn't know who exactly they've got to cover, who they got to block. It's a very confusing situation. Those guys do an outstanding job giving Kent Graham the time.
And Graham lost one up, and the catch is made by Rob Moore.
Look at Graham. He's running. He's going to hug him. Sanders. Actually, it was Sanders who ran to hug Rob Moore. Graham should give him a hug. I mean, that's what we talked about at the beginning of the game. That is the advantage that they wanted to take. Here's Rob Moore right here. Jimmy Spencer's the guy. 5'9" against 6'3", and Kent Graham just puts that ball up. Puts it right up there in traffic. The coverage is not bad. There's Greg Myers with the underneath. But Rob Moore uses that great height, that leaping ability to come down with a big pass.
37-yard pickup. Play action fake to McElroy. As Graham hits Centers, who works his way inside the 5.
That's a nice tackle by Ashley Ambrose. That's the reason why he is a Pro Bowl player. I mean, he's got great coverage. He has great coverage abilities. But when you see a guy go out there against Larry Centers and you're isolated, there's nothing between Centers and the goal line except 33 Ashley Ambrose. He's got to come off of his coverage, and then he's got to come and make this tackle. It's a difficult thing to do. He starts high on the hips and goes down to the ankles, concentrating all the way.
McElroy inside the 3. Close to a 1st down.
You know, part of this zone blitz, Kenny, is you send your linebackers, and if you send them, and here it is, Ricardo McDonald, watch it, he comes through, and if you come through clean, you got to make the tackle. You see that there? He comes through clean, and he hits Leland McElroy, but he doesn't get a solid enough hit on McElroy to prevent a gain. Not that it's easy. I mean, you know, you're coming through. It's not like you're just walking down the, through the shopping mall. I mean, you're going through the gauntlet. Guys are smacking you, hitting you, knocking you around. But when you come on that blitz, you're abandoning the second level of defense. And Dick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator you see there, he wants those guys coming through and making the plays behind the line of scrimmage. Look at that, 2 for 2 in the red zone for the Cardinals today.
1st and goal, the tight end Gedney in motion. Larry Centers. Centers down to the 1.
And that time Ricardo McDonald did just what he had to do. He got Centers and he got him in the backfield. So if you're going to swarm, you got to make sure you swarm effectively, bring the guy down.
Carter McDonald's brother, Devon, spent last season with the Arizona Cardinals, his twin brother, in fact. Second and goal. Centers to the outside. Touchdown, Cardinals.
That's power. That's running with power. Innovation and running with power. The Bengals defense does a nice job holding up the front there on the line. Look at it there. I mean, they give him no place to go, but Larry Centers breaks it to the outside. He gets hit by Tumulty, but he uses his power. Look at it. No place to go. I'll come outside. He gets hit by Tumulty. He gets hit by Shade, but he's got too much power.
Butler for the point after. 21-3 Cardinals. 1-yard touchdown run by Centers, set up by the two big pass plays. 14 yards to Sanders, 37 to Rob Moore. Back in Cincinnati, the Arizona Cardinals, who lost their first 3 games a year ago before turning things around, have a lot to smile about here today. Larry Centers, the third different Cardinal to enter the end zone this afternoon, and they lead the Bengals 21-3. Gunnar Twiner. Twiner cuts it back inside, still on his feet. Flag on the play. Finally knocked out of bounds. Another flag. Perhaps a late hit.
Twiner's as slippery as an eel in the bottom of a fishing boat. I mean, he's just slick and slipping all over the place.
31 yards on the return, a couple of flags. Walt Coleman and his crew getting together to sort things out.
No, there really haven't been that many penalties in this game today. It's been a pretty clean game considering it's opening day. It's the first game of the season. You've got rookies on both sides, young players on both sides, trying to figure things out. It's been a clean game. So the personal foul is probably going to be a hit out of bounds. Then the illegal block. That happens when Gunnar Twiner runs around like that. Guys are going to grab hold or block in the back.
Block during the return on number 28. We have a personal foul on the kicking team, number 33. Those penalties will offset at the spot of the receiving team's foul. First down.
Corey Dillon of the Bengals, Kevin Bowie of the Cardinals.
So all that, and we
it's a wash.
Yeah, we just end up exactly where we would have been.
And where the Cardinals are is on top by the score of 21-3 as Ken Graham hit on big third down connections with Frank Sanders in the first half, did it again here in the third quarter, and then 37 yards to Rob Moore, and just moments later Centers extended the Arizona lead. Blake on first down swings it out, and the catch is made by Kajana Carter, wrapped up by Jameer Miller.
The good news for the Cincinnati Bengals is they've got weapons. I mean, Jeff Blake, we know he can throw that deep ball. Now, he did have the one interception that he threw to Aeneas Williams, but we know he's a weapon, and we know Kajana Carter's a weapon. We know Carl Pickens is a weapon. We know Darnay Scott has deep speed. So it's not all over by any means, because you will see Jeff Blake try to open this thing up with some deep balls.
Second down and 5. Carter. Gain of just 1. Kajana Carter with 54 yards in the first half on 11 carries.
And you can sense there's Joe Green, the line coach. Of course he's clapping and smiling and happy. Look at the thing there. He doesn't even have the communicator on. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need to talk to anybody because he knows exactly what's going on. He knows his guys are starting to dominate up front. And when you're ahead 21-3, you can get aggressive on the defensive line.
Connor, enough for the first down. So the Bengals drive continues.
That's what we say when we talk about weapons. He's a weapon. There is no doubt that Kajana Carter is here to stay. It certainly doesn't hurt when your other guys, who's supposed to be a big-time receiver and who is out there throwing a block. I mean, look at Carl Pickens. He just rides his guy, Tito Paul, right off the field. Drives him right off the field and enables Kajana Carter to pick up that first down.
Blake rolling right, and the catch is made by the fullback, Brian Milne. Short gain, and now bodies come together, flags thrown.
Kenny, that was that play action that I talked about, but the Cardinals defense had it covered up. They made it look like the run where they pulled Willie Anderson. They faked it. Blake rolled out, and he had nothing. He had to just dump it off to Brian Milne, his fullback. So that shows great discipline by the Cardinals defensive backs.
Once again, the officials sorting out the flags.
Vince Tobin screaming offsetting. So he's hoping for the same kind of deal he had before. Personal foul against the Bengals.
That's even better for Vince Tobin.
Nothing offsetting about that. He probably wants to stop talking about offsetting.
We have a personal foul on the offense, number 66. Have a 15-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
The right guard, Ken Blackman.
Bruce Coslett told us yesterday that Blackman was a tough guy. Kind of guy that you want to take with you when you're in dangerous territory. But you sure don't want to do that kind of stuff in a football game. Here he is right here. He's taking a shot. He's going to take a shot at Hill right in the back. It's not really much of a shot, though. I mean, heck, Eric Swan probably gets worse when he rolls out of bed in the morning.
And there is Scott Brumfield replacing Blackman. And what a story Brumfield's return has become. And we'll get back to that in just a moment as Blake steps up and then is taken down by Bernard Wilson. Third sack of the game by the Cardinals.
And this is domination at the line of scrimmage. It's the inability for the Bengals offensive line, a lot of them young, to keep these guys out of Jeff Blake's face. Swan comes up. He forces Blake underneath. Bernard Wilson cleans it up. Michael Bankston's there as well. That's domination at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage.
Second down and 22. Blake across midfield. Tony McGee.
Wow, he takes some punishment. But that's the deep ball Jeff Blake needs to throw.
First down for the Bengals right now. Let's head back to the Fox Television Center and James Brown for this McDonald's game break. JB.
Kenny, Dave Brown of New York has been looking like a world beater. Take a look at this drilled pass. That to Chris Callaway, a 9-yard reception. And the Giants looking to give their head coach Jim Fossil a great 48th birthday present. Lead it 14-3. Back to Kenny Albert and Tim Green.
You talk about a quarterback establishing his confidence or establishing the team's confidence in it. Ken Graham doing it, former Giant quarterback, as well as Dave Brown. Now, again, we're talking about the defensive line and how they're starting to take over the game. Here's Banks in here. You're going to see the stunt. Swan's up. Bankston's going to come around. He actually comes right up through the middle. He just blows right by Tony McGee, the tight end, as if he's not there, and makes that tackle in the backfield. That's domination. It wasn't a trick. It wasn't a stunt. It's just drive through. I beat my man. I make the tackle.
Second down and 11. Blake threw it away. He was under pressure from Jameer Miller once again.
Well, Blake's got to hold this ball partly because Tommy Knight, the rookie cornerback, is on Pickens, and here he's working him. And Knight's got the pressure. I mean, look at that. That's pretty doggone good change of direction. Look at that. I mean, Knight really gives Carl Pickens very little space in which to work. And did you see the way he flipped his hips? That's what makes this guy, is going to make this guy an outstanding cornerback in the National Football League.
Blake pump fakes on 3rd and 11. And James Hunden, who played 5 games last year, spent the remainder of the season on the practice squad, unable to come up with it.
Jeff Blake is looking to the outside. He wants Scott. He wants Pickens on the outside. It's Hunden on the inside who's the guy that's open. So it's great coverage on the outside. You see there, Blake's looking outside. He wants to throw outside. He comes back to the inside, and Hunden just flat drops that ball, and that's what scared Kozlik coming into this game. The unknown factor as the 3rd wide receiver because David Dunn is hurt.
And Johnson punched this one all the way into and then out of the end zone. So the Cardinals will start on their own 20-yard line when we return. Kenny Albert, Tim Green back in Cincinnati. Opening day of the National Football League. And the Arizona Cardinals off to a terrific start. There is Bengals defensive coordinator Dick LeBeau, his team trailing 21-3. Cardinals from their own 20-yard line. 1st and 10. Rams pass intended for Rob Moore, just short.
Well, Ken Graham certainly came out on fire in the beginning of this game where he opened up, went 4 for 4, established himself, and then he came out and on the last drive in this quarter, he went 4 for 4 again, led his team down the field. So he's shown the ability to be incredibly strong, but now he's got to pull together that consistency. You don't want to get lax just because you've got a big lead.
Wow, oh, what a hit.
Oh my goodness.
Ricardo McDonald made the stop on Leland McElroy. You can hear it up here in the press box.
You could hear it, you could see it, you could almost feel it. Watch Ricardo McDonald just come up and fill. I mean, this is just perfect. Comes off the block, catches Leland McElroy.
And a flag was thrown.
I wonder if it's when he puts his hand on his face mask afterwards. It could have been a flag if it wasn't. But he hits him, and that's okay. But this right there, see that? I mean, I don't know if that's what they're going to call it. Actually, it looked like he was just trying to get up. It's against the Cardinals, so. Boy, is my mom going to be unhappy. She told, remember earlier, she said, if you can't guess right, don't guess.
You're not used to football in August. Regular season football in August.
Damn, man.
2nd down and 20 following the holding call. Moore back near the original line of scrimmage, a gain of 9. So it will be 3rd down and long for the Cardinals.
And when you have that lead, when you have that 21-point lead, and the penalty sets you back, that's what you want to do. You want to go with the shorter pass, the safer pass, because the last thing you want to do against this aggressive Bengals defense is let them come up with a turnover and turn the momentum of this thing around.
4 wide receivers for the Cardinals. Graham to Anthony Edwards. Nice catch, but about a yard shy of the 1st down.
Nice catch and a gutsy throw. One thing no one will ever accuse Ken Graham of is having a weak arm. He just zips that thing right in there between the coverage. And Edwards does a nice job just hanging on to that thing.
Well, Dick LeBeau told us yesterday Ken Graham can throw as far and as strongly as anybody. And we saw the bullet there to Edwards. So here's Spiegels. Good hang time. Greg Myers for the fair catch. 39-yard punt by Jeff Spiegels. Bengals will start from their own 32 when we return.
Central.
Back at Synergy Field, 21-3 lead for the Cardinals as Dick LeBeau gets his troops together.
Well, they figured it out on that last series. They shut down the Cardinals. Now Bruce Coslett, who you see there, Kenny Anderson, a great quarterback for the Bengals. Now the offensive coordinator. Those guys got to get it figured out for the offense. Jeff Blake, they need Blake to throw that ball again downfield and strike fast.
They start from the 32. Blake to the air on first down, a wobbly pass intended for Darnay Scott, and the Bengals hearing some boos rain down from this near sellout crowd at Synergy Field.
Well, Jeff Blake throws a wobbly one because he is under extreme duress. He's under duress because that Cardinals defensive line is putting the heat on him. They're taking advantage of some young Bengals offensive linemen who, by the way, are having to concentrate their efforts on Simeon Rice. There were two guys on Rice on that last play, and that's helping Swan and Bankston dominate.
Weiner in motion. Blake on 2nd and 10. It's complete to Gunnar Twiner. And that is his first catch in the National Football League, a gain of 4, so it will be 3rd down and 6.
How about Eric Swan? He was the guy out there with the coverage on Gunnar Twiner. We talked about how slippery Twiner is. Twiner goes in motion. Swan right here, watch him, there's the zone blitz. He makes like he's going to rush the passer. That enables Kinnan to rush. Swan drops back. He takes Kinnan's zone in the pass coverage and makes the tackle.
3rd and 6. The pitch back nearly sailed over the head of Kajana Carter. Not enough for the first down. Jameer Miller made the stop, and once again the Bengals will be forced to punt.
You have to wonder. I mean, 3rd and 6. You've got Jeff Blake, Bruce Pickens, Darnay Scott. They're going to go.
Now they're going to go for it.
Yeah, they are. And it's not a bad idea. I mean, they need a spark. They need some life. They need to make something happen.
The Cardinals had sent out their punt return unit.
Now everybody's having to rush to get their chin straps buckled in, and Aeneas Williams wisely calls a timeout. Because when it's a 4th down critical situation, you want to be able to gather yourself. Well, I will prepare myself for that, but in the meantime, I'm going to prepare myself for a big 4th down play here. A definite gamble by Bruce Coslett, going for it on 4th down in your own territory. But I think it's a wise decision. They need a spark. The Bengals need a spark to come back.
Blake can't find anyone. Rolling right. Keeps it himself and looks to have the first down.
And that's why they love this guy. That's why his teammates believe in him. Despite the inefficiency on 3rd down, he has not had a bad day. And then when everything is on the line, not everything, but when it's an important critical play, he sees no one to throw this ball to. There's outstanding coverage. He beats Bankston. He uses his speed. Now watch the pump fake. That pump fake is a little added insurance to keep the linebackers and the defensive backs on their coverage so you can run to the first down.
Blake swings it out to the fullback, Milne, inside the Cardinals 35. Eric Hill finally chased him down, a gain of 20.
Boy, you gotta love, if you love football, you love a guy like Brian Milne. I mean, we talked to him yesterday, an outstanding play. Friday Night Lights. On Friday nights, he looks for lights and goes to high school football games. That's how much he loves football. Hard hits mean nothing to him because he's a guy who overcame chemotherapy. He says nothing could be worse than that. Amazingly, he's massaged weekly, not of his own account, but Kajana Carter, to reward him for his blocking, gets him a weekly massage to kind of work out those aches and pains.
On first down, 3-yard pickup for Eric Bieniemy. Yes, Kajana Carter whips out the checkbook, orders the massage, and Brian Milne is the lucky recipient.
Yeah, Milne used to block for him at Penn State, and Kajana Carter loves having this guy as his lead blocker because he knows what I mean, look, he goes to high school games on his Friday night. He even takes dates there. He takes his girlfriend to the game. You know the guy loves football, and he's perfectly willing to block a thankless job in the National Football League.
And she enjoys the games almost as much as he does. Blake on the timing pattern. Flag on the play. Pickens working on Tom Knight, the rookie first-round draft pick out of Iowa.
I don't know if this is going to be pass interference against Tom Knight, but I will tell you that this young man, this rookie, has shown himself to be an outstanding coverage cornerback. And he's shaking his head. He can't believe this is one of those things. A judgment call could go either way.
On the defense, number 22. First down.
It's going to give life to the Bengals. Well, let's take a look at it. Outstanding job on the coverage. You see that there? He makes the transition, turns his hip. He's running even with Pickens. Oh, that is so close. What happens is, in the official's mind, he didn't turn his head soon enough to look for the ball when he knocked Pickens' arms. That's a questionable call. It's still great coverage.
Carter on, no, play action to Carter. Faked us out here in the booth. Instead, Blake hit Donnie Scott. Flag thrown after the 4-yard pickup.
That's that hard run action, that play action pass that I talked about earlier, and I said they will make plays look like runs. Blake will keep the ball and throw a pass. Defensive holding against the Cardinals.
Holding on the defense, half the distance to the goal, first down.
So the ball will be spotted on the Arizona 4-yard line.
Now here's that play action. They make this look like a run with Milne and Carter. As you said, everyone's faked out. That gives Blake the time. And then he delivers a nice pass to Darnay Scott, but it doesn't matter anyway because they take the penalty.
First and goal on the 4. Blake calls timeout with only 1 second remaining in the quarter. So the Bengals waste a timeout. We'll return to Synergy Field in a moment. First and goal on the 4. The Bengals were set. Jeff Blake called timeout with only 1 second remaining in the quarter. That could come back to haunt towards the end of this game.
Well, as you said, it is a wasted timeout. But when you're a quarterback, you're looking at two things, the defense and the play clock. You're looking at when you have to get the snap off, and very rarely do you pay attention to the actual game clock itself, and that's what happened.
So this will be the final play of the third quarter. Blake is hit by Simeon Rice as he was looking end zone, and that will do it for the third quarter from Synergy Field in Cincinnati, with the Cardinals leading the Bengals 21-3. Back in Cincinnati, the Arizona Cardinals, the lowest scoring team in the NFL during the preseason. They scored only 31 points in 4 games. They lead the Bengals 21-3. Now, last season, and they picked it up under Bruce Coslett over the final 9 games, the Bengals were the highest scoring team in the NFL in the fourth quarter. They'll need to do just that here today.
Yeah, and as we talked about, if you're behind, this is the guy you want. Jeff Blake with the weapons of Carter, Pickens, and Scott.
And Carter works his way down to the 2-yard line. Kajana Carter with a career best day. 71 yards on the afternoon, and it will be third and goal for Bruce Coslett's Bengals.
And this Arizona defense isn't making it easy on Bruce Coslett, who you see is 5-0 on this field here. Part of that is because they are able to score so many points late in the game with those weapons, but the Cardinals playing very tough inside the red zone. Simeon Rice with the hit on Blake the first play, and then the defense showing good run protection on the last one.
Darnay Scott in motion, and Blake calls timeout number 2. Blake over to chat with Coslett. We'll return in a moment. Kenny Albert, Tim Green back in Cincinnati. 3rd and goal for the Bengals on the Cardinals' 2-yard line. Here's Connor. And Kajana Connor is in for the touchdown.
They love it here on opening day in Cincinnati. A young man with a lot of promise, showing why they picked him. Again, Milne is the guy in front of him, this fullback leading up through. A nice block.
And the point
nice
after,
goal.
Doug Pelfrey. It is now 21-10 Arizona.
Synergy Field is starting to turn into a powerful place for the Bengals. Again, you know, we talked about it, Kenny. They have the offensive weapons in Jeff Blake, Kajana Carter, Pickens, and Scott as receivers to turn this thing around. You said it. They've scored more points in the 4th quarter than anyone last season. There's Carter there, scoring 7 and putting them back into this thing.
Kevin Bowie for the Cardinals. Stopped shy of the 25-yard line. 22-yard return by Bowie. Gerald Dixon made the tackle. So Kent Graham making only his 13th NFL start in 6 seasons. His first opening day start. He's led the Cardinals to this 21-10 lead. Started off 4 for 4. Overall, Graham 16 of 25, 219 yards. As the crowd looks to spur the Bengals defense to stop the Cardinals right here. First down from the 24. And a short gain for Leland McElroy. Ricardo McDonald made the tackle.
Now you've got 2 things with this Bengals defense. You see Big Daddy Wilkinson coming off the field with a slight limp, but you've got 2 things going for you. One, you've just had a long rest on the sideline because Jeff Blake put together a nice long drive. So they're rested. 2, you've got the crowd into this. You can feed off the crowd now.
Pitch back to McElroy. Not much running room. Picks up perhaps a yard. So it will be 3rd and long for the Cardinals.
It's just going to build. That's what happens when the crowd gets into it and your defense is fresh and rested. There's going to be noise. It's going to be hard for Kent Graham to make any kind of verbal adjustments at the line of scrimmage. And you probably expect Nick LeBeau to bring some heat. I bet you Brenson Bruckner never thought he'd, after all his years as a Steeler, thought he'd be getting cheers at Synergy Field in Cincinnati. That's what free agency does.
And he's only been a Bengal since Monday. Went to camp with the Kansas City Chiefs after 3 years in Pittsburgh. Cardinals call timeout. Will return after these words. Near sellout crowd at Synergy Field, looking to give the Bengals some life. They scored a touchdown moments ago to pull within 11. Now they look to stop the Cardinals on 3rd and 7.
They're going to tap into it. The Bengals defense is going to tap into the energy from this crowd.
4 Cardinal wide receivers. Graham to the outside, centers, tripped up. They're not going to stop until they knock him down.
Man, James Francis looked like he was a cat that caught a mouse.
A mouse named Larry.
Yeah. I told you, I mean, they fed off the energy of the crowd. This Bengals defense felt it. They tapped into it. and they used it to stuff the Cardinals and get that ball back into Jeff Blake's hands.
Fred Myers awaiting the Jeff Eagles punt by the combination of J.J. McCleskey and Tito Paul. 39-yard punt. Nothing on the return. Right now, let's head to James Brown for this McDonald's game break at the Fox Television Center.
Kenny and Sam, big day for Robert Smith. Take a look at him as he's heading for a 78-yard run for the score. Second longest run from scrimmage for a TD. Don't catch a Buckeye from behind. Buffalo trailing the Vikes 27-10. Back to Kenny and Tim.
Well, Kenny, there's another guy coming off of a knee injury, showing his worth in the National Football League as Kijana Carter is here today.
Bengals back to the offense from their own 35. Oh, big hit by Eric Hill, the middle linebacker, stopping Darnay Scott.
And that's a big load to hit you. Eric Hill is a big, massive inside linebacker, and when you come across the territory in the middle, you know that this man is going to pay you a visit. So Darnay Scott, the speedster, look at that, wham. I mean, he just takes him right off his feet. That's how you make your mark as a middle backer in the National Football League.
Scott gained 5, 2nd and 5. Quick pass to the outside, intended for Kijana Carter.
And that's a little bit of the inaccuracy that we have seen from Jeff Blake today. You know, his numbers aren't that bad, but on the third down and then in that situation right there, we've seen his ball be off just a little bit. But you also have to give credit where credit's due. He's also the guy, when he had no receivers on that 4th down play in the last series, to scramble for the first down, keep the drive alive, and put the Bengals back into this game.
3 wide receivers on 3rd and 5. And Blake couldn't find anyone under extreme pressure once again by Aeneas Williams, the quarterback. And the Bengals will be forced to punt it away.
As I said, the Cardinals can afford to be aggressive here, sending Aeneas Williams right up the center. And it's actually Brad Otis. It's not 95, it's 96, who comes right up the middle to put the heat on Jeff Blake.
5th punt of the afternoon. Lee Johnson, Kevin Williams, the former Cowboy, back deep for the Cardinals. So the Bengals pin Arizona deep in their own territory. 50-yard punt by Johnson. Well, Tim, next week it's a Fox NFL doubleheader, beginning with America's most watched pregame show. Then catch the Redskins battle the Steelers, and the Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers clash against the Philadelphia Eagles, plus other exciting regional action. The coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, right here on Fox, so check your local listing.
And you want to watch the whole thing. I mean, the games are going to be great, but if you want to get the inside scoop, you got to see the pregame too.
Graham on 1st down hits Rob Moore, who spins across the 20 for a Cardinals 1st down.
Now, the thing that's going to surprise the Bengals coaches about that play there is Tremaine Mack, the rookie, 4th round pick, strong safety, missed Rob Moore in the open field. The reason why it's going to surprise him is they were so impressed with this young guy after his performance against the Detroit Lions. They said he made some open field tackles against Barry Sanders that they'd never seen anyone make before.
Pitch back to Leland McElroy. Well, there you see, coming out of the Fox box, each team with 1 timeout remaining. As we approach 10 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter, a 21-10 Arizona Cardinals advantage. 2nd down and 10 upcoming for the Cardinals. They've scored 3 rushing touchdowns today after reaching the end zone only once during the entire preseason. Graham fires a bullet, but could not connect with Moore.
Once again, Jimmy Spencer doing a nice job on the coverage. And when the quarterback has tight coverage, as Spencer does on this, what the quarterback has to do is deliver that ball with some Tabasco sauce on it. And sometimes when he puts that much Tabasco sauce on it, it's too hot and the receiver can't hang on.
Cardinals nearing the 300-yard mark in total offense. Graham for more, and it's broken up. Corey Sawyer got a piece of it, the nickelback.
And that time, Dick LeBeau's blitz pays off. Graham did earlier in the game, but he doesn't have enough time to deliver that ball. Bengals defense really shoring up when it's important. Look at that. There's the pressure right up the middle, and Graham just has to get rid of it quick.
Jeff behind. He breaks away from the initial Cardinals up to the 45-yard line. 40-yard punt, 7 on the return by Myers. Under 10 minutes remaining from Synergy Field in Cincinnati, with the Cardinals on top by 11.
And that certainly is enough time for Bruce Coslet's offense. Again, a high-powered offense. Even though they've struggled today on third down, you can never write Jeff Blake and his crew out of a game.
I'll be gone.
And they start with excellent field position on their own 45-yard line. Blake looking, could not find anybody, and is taken down. Simeon Rice, 12.5 sacks a year ago. Off to a strong start in this, his second season.
I said earlier they were going to have to deal with Simeon Rice, one of the finest pass rushers in the league. Watch how they deal with him on this play. There are 2 blockers on him, and he beats them anyway. Then the quick count here. So we missed it, but we'll try to go back to it if we can. It looks like somebody, nope, looks like he's all right. But
Johnny
the impressive,
getting a couple of extra seconds rest.
And the impressive thing about Simeon Rice on that last pass play, of course, now the Bengals are going to the hurry-up, so I don't know if we'll get to see it.
And Blake swings it out. The enemy slipped.
You know what? They out-tripped themselves. The Bengals went to the hurry-up, and they hurried themselves up instead of hurrying the Cardinals up. And they out-tricked themselves, and now they're in a 4th and long situation. They got too clever. They should have just stayed with what was working for them.
So 3 and out. And Lee Johnson on to punt for the Bengals. Kevin Williams is the deep man. High snap. Bounces through the end zone, so the Cardinals will start from their own 20-yard line, 60 yards on the punt by Johnson.
Well, Kenny, I told you I was going to give you that Simeon Rice play, so I'm going to give you the Simeon Rice play instead of a commercial. Watch him here, and you're going to see Rod Jones on him. You're also going to see Eric Bieniemy come and try to chip him. You see that? There's 2 guys on him there. He races around the both of them to make this play and get the sack and really stifle the drive for the Cincinnati Bengals. They came into this game with 3 recipes for Rice. They wanted to chip him with the back, as we saw in that last play. They wanted to slide the line to him, as we've seen earlier, and then that's freed up Swan and Miller. And they've also wanted to hit him with the tight end. But Rice has overcome at least one of those recipes.
Sanders in motion on first down. McElroy caught in the backfield. Don Copeland along with Big Daddy Wilkinson, a loss of 4.
One thing that Dick LeBeau's defense, we talked about the aggressive nature of this zone blitz defense. Part of that aggression doesn't always have to be with the blitz, but it's with Dick LeBeau using a lot of stunts up front. There you see LeBeau, and you see Tim Crumry, the former nose guard for the Cincinnati Bengals. And what it does is he unleashes these guys up front, allows them to loop and stunt and make big plays.
Graham, some more. Stays on his feet up to the 30, to the 28-yard line. Greg Myers made the stop. Well, as you check out the out-of-town scores on our Fox Online, Dick LeBeau's former club getting blitzed today in Pittsburgh. It's the Cowboys 37, the Steelers nothing.
You know, and that surprised me, and I think it surprised everybody. The guys in the pregame were talking about how they thought Pittsburgh was going to come through. But that just shows you, I mean, you can predict all you want, but that's why you love the game. That's why you play it, because you never know.
3rd down and 2. And the Cardinals pick up the first down as Graham hits Larry Centers out of the backfield. Stop made by Tom Tumulty, but not before a gain of 8.
What a nicely thrown ball that was by Kent Graham. And we've seen this young man do some exceptional things today. We've seen him go 4 for 4 on a couple touchdown drives. We saw him hang in against the blitz and deliver the ball. And then we've seen him make some really outstanding throws. And that was one right there. It was an out cut, but there was just a small window in which he had to deliver the ball to Centers, and he did it.
Sanders, the man in motion on first down as the Cardinals keep it on the ground with Larry Centers.
I think I made Larry Centers some money in this offseason, because if you remember, he had a little theme song, and we did the game against the Washington Redskins last year, and he said, hey, my theme song is Larry runs, Larry blocks, Larry catches, Larry centers. And we repeated that jingle for a while, and you know, he had a theme, show me the money, and they certainly showed him the money. So I think I might have built him up a little bit.
And his former offensive coordinator, Jim Fossil, was very interested in bringing Centers over to the New York Giants, who was a free agent, and decided to stay in Phoenix.
Yeah, but they had to show him the money.
And ironically, many of the football scenes in the movie Jerry Maguire were filmed right at the Arizona Cardinals training complex in Tempe.
Yeah, so they knew the saying real well. So I think the movie helped, and then the jingle helped, and then Larry Centers certainly got paid. But Vince Tobin's got to be happy with what Centers has been able to do for them today. Remember that one run into the end zone where he really showed his individual power to break through 2 defenders and score.
Third down and 7, under 5 minutes to play. And Graham's pass batted down. So the Cardinals will punt it away.
I'll tell you, Kenny, you know, one guy we haven't talked about a lot is this guy right here, Lomas Brown. You want to remember why he's an all-pro and been in this league for so long? I mean, he just works his guy right into the turf, and then he lays on it. So some good work going on there by a veteran who, as you know, made me the GOAT of the week when I played him in college.
Yes, following the Syracuse, Florida extravaganza. Greg Myers forced out of bounds at the 34-yard line by Terry Irving. 42-yard punt, 15 yards on the return by Myers.
And now, Kenny, these guys, the Bengals, have got 2 things working against them. I mean, remember before we said they had the crowd for them and they had the rest, the defense? Well, now Bruce Coslet, Jeff Blake have not only got a very stout Cardinals defense working against them, they've got the clock working against them. So they have to think about 2 things now. They have to think about getting the ball upfield, but they also have to think about getting the thing out of bounds. Stopping the clock.
And both of Blake's favorite targets have been quiet. Only 2 receptions apiece for Carl Pickens and Darnay Scott today. Blake hit sack number 4 by the Cardinals, 2nd of the afternoon for Eric Swan.
Swan may have hurt himself on the play. Remember the force we saw he brought earlier and knocked Kajana Carter's helmet off? He brings so much force, he ends up hurting himself. And I'll bet you'll see Simeon Rice doing something too. Here's Swan. He just blows right past Ken Blackman, and there's Rice there. Rice is doing his part. He contains the quarterback.
Pickens. Bengals first down to the 38. Pick up a 14.
Yeah. You will see this Cardinals, these defensive backs now allow those inside catches because, again, they're working against the clock as well.
Blake scrambling on first down. Wide open was Gunnar Twiner, but Blake put a little too much on it.
Brad Otis was the guy again. We saw Otis put some pressure on Blake earlier, and he does a nice job coming to give Eric Swan a relief.
4th down and 4 upcoming for the Bengals.
There's Otis. You talk about a guy, I mean, he's another guy who struggled with injuries, who appears to be coming into his own as a defensive lineman.
3 wide receivers on 4th and 4. And the quick slant is complete for the Bengals' first down. Pickens stopped by Tito Paul after the gain of 10.
And that's precisely what you do. Remember before in a 4th down situation we saw Jeff Blake run for it? You go to your big guys. Now this 4th down they go to Pickens.
Blake dumps it off. This time it's Eric Bieniemy for a short gain.
And that's a win for the Cardinals. Not only did they stop him for a short game, they're keeping that clock running.
Bengals with only 1 timeout remaining. Blake to Carter. Stays on his feet, inbounds down the sideline, inside the 15.
That's a weapon. There's his mom. He gave her the football earlier, but I'll tell you what, Kajana Carter's down on the turf. He's down on the turf. And there's his mom just praying and hoping that it's not the worst nightmare, and that is another injury to a knee. His mom won't be watching the game.
Yes, they're checking out Kajana Carter on the sidelines. Back to live action. And now Carter looks to be walking it off.
Which is a great sign.
And now Blake calls timeout. The Bengals' final timeout with 2:53 remaining.
Whenever you have a serious knee injury, your biggest fear whenever you feel any kind of twinge is that, oh no, it's happening to me again. And there you see him. He gets knocked out and he wrenches it when he runs out, when he gets the hit. And then he just goes down because I tell you, he's scared. He's scared that here we go again. Just when I get my promise going, it happens. When you talk about a weapon, he catches that thing. It's a short pass. He turns it into a big play. Now watch it here. See when he gets hit? His leg gets twisted as he gets hit.
He gained 35 yards on that play.
Now his mom, now she can watch the game and start thinking about the Bengals again. And let's score a touchdown and get back into this thing and win the game. But I'll tell you, 2 minutes ago, she wasn't caring if the Bengals won or lost. She was just hoping that her son wasn't going to have to go through what he went through 2 years ago, which was total knee construction. Here you see his numbers. Catching the ball, 2 catches, 40 yards, most of it run after the catch.
Also 75 yards on the ground. A new career best. Blake looking end zone. Pickens made the catch for the first down.
That's what Pickens does. Now Blake isn't showing off. He's calling the play. He's calling everybody in. But that's what Pickens does. You put the ball up near this man, and he battles for it and fights for it as well as any receiver in the National Football League.
Ball spotted on the 1. The pitch back to Carter with the fullback Miller leading the way.
He's got it.
Touchdown, Kajana Carter.
Now we'll see if he delivers that ball to his mom. He did before. I don't know if he's going to have time to do it now.
A soft spike this time. And there is an injured Cardinal. Eric Hill is shaken up.
Carter's going to give the ball to his mom. I mean, they got the... Oh, they're telling him, somebody's calling him off. Now, Hill has had problems with his back in training camp.
He underwent an MRI as recently as this past Monday.
There's the ball, but I think that's from the first touchdown. Oh, no, that's the one. They got it to her. They delivered it to her, and if you can step back a little, we'll see the sign. You see that right there? Mom, 32. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. If you're a mom, you get your own sign. You got a son who's a star, who's back from an injury, and it looks like he's hurt, and then he's not hurt, and he scores a touchdown, gets the Bengals back into this game, and you're the one with the ball.
And it's the second two-ball game for Kajana's mom, his second career two-touchdown game. So just moments after Carter was shaken up, now all smiles.
Here's that touchdown run. There's Brian Milne out front with a block. Nice surge by the line, but it's really Kajana Carter's speed to beat the defense to the corner. Now we have to think about the score, and you have to wonder, will they go for a two-point conversion? And you'd think that they would. Now here's his mom catching the ball. Oh, nope, somebody else tried to catch it as a substitute. But he gave it right back to her. She got it. Looked like she was going to tug him by the ear and say, you know, she shoved him away, got the stiff arm working. And, you know, when you talk to Kajana Carter and you talk about the ordeal that he's been through with that knee injury, with all the heightened scrutiny, with a down year last year at 2.9 yards a carry, he says that his mom was instrumental in getting him through it because his mom believed in him, his family believed in him. And he said that gives him his base from which to work by and to feel comfortable with himself and who he was and have the confidence to come back and have a big year this year. We're going to take a look at Eric Hill and try to figure out, well, we won't figure out what happened, but at least we'll take a look at him on this play. Now he's the middle backer, so there he is coming right up through the middle of the thing. And it looks like he gets cut down at the knee by the guard of the Cincinnati Bengals. And that's where he went right down. So the way he's hobbling, you know, it's probably not a back thing at all. That's a bad sign.
And the Bengals will go for two because if they kick the extra point, they would still be down 4.
Right. And if they get 2, they'll only be down 3. And then they can kick a field goal to tie it up.
Bengals last year perfect, 2 for 2 on two-point conversion attempts. Blake looking corner of the end zone for Pickens, broken up beautifully by Tom Knight.
Oh, that's outstanding coverage. We saw him covering Carl Pickens before, and that shows great confidence. Coming into this game, a lot of people expected Aeneas Williams, the Pro Bowl corner, to be locked up on Carl Pickens. Vince Tobin, the head coach of the Cardinals, said no. This man right here, Tommy Knight, has got what it takes. And you see there that great change of direction by Knight, and he taps that ball right out of Pickens' hands. It's a well-thrown ball by Blake. It's a nice pattern by Pickens, but you just can't make it happen when the coverage is perfect, and that's perfect coverage. Look at that. Great body control, great concentration. That's a rookie right there who's not playing like a rookie. Now we have to watch for the possibility, of course, of an onside kick to try to get this thing back as soon as possible. Give the Bengals a chance. Especially now, Kenny, you prognosticated it before. You said Jeff Blake's wasted timeout may come back to haunt them, and with 2:14 left, down by 5, a wasted timeout right before the quarter, between the third and the fourth quarter, is haunting Bruce Coslett right now because they don't have any left.
And defensively, the Bengals would not be able to stop the clock.
Right, so that means it must be an onside kick if they're going to have a chance to win this football game.
2:14 remaining.
It's a funny formation for an onside kick.
Well, it looks as if the Cardinals have recovered. Yes, they have.
That onside kick didn't even make sense, Kenny. I mean, I've never seen an onside kick like that, where you just kick it out in front of you. I mean, I've never seen it before. Usually you load up one side of the field and you let the kicker put some topspin on it. You get a big bounce and send that thing up in the air. This is as bad as it gets. This is just a little dribble here right into the hands of the Cardinals. There's no bounce on it. So the Cincinnati Bengals kickoff team never has a chance.
Perhaps the Bengals felt that if they disguised it as a regular kickoff,
well, they
would trick the Cardinals.
Yeah, they tricked themselves again. They out-tricked themselves. And it's going to cost them this football game, or a chance at this football game.
Bengals with no timeouts remaining. Irish centers and Dan Wilkinson came together as we approach the 2-minute warning. Cardinals led 21-3. 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns by Kajana Carter. Coslin and the Bengals trail by 5.
21st.
Well, at the 2-minute warning, with Arizona leading 21-16, Vince Tobin knows a lot of things. He knows not only is he probably going to win this football game unless something freakish happens, he knows he's got a quarterback who has established himself in Kent Graham. He knows he's got a defense that is very strong up front, and with 4 sacks today and some outstanding coverage by both Aeneas Williams and the young rookie, Tommy Knight.
Second down and 10. Bengals cannot stop the clock. Centers to the outside. So the clock continues to run, but it will be third down. 3rd and 10 for the Cardinals.
Well, I guess the Bengals will have at least a deep shot at the end zone. But as I said, it would take something freakish for them to come out with it.
Coming up in our NASDAQ stock market post-game report, scores and highlights from around the National Football League, plus our Fox Sports ticker, up to the minute statistics. 3rd and 10. Centers cuts it back inside. He cuts up the football. Bengals have recovered.
That's something freakish. That's a freakish thing for Larry Centers to fumble the football. And that may be exactly what the Bengals need. Now, 110 is a lot of time. That is a lot more time than they would have had if they had been able to re-rack and let the 45-second clock run down. Larry Centers just cost the Cardinals 45 seconds on the play clock with this fumble. And then they would have had the ability to punt it as well. Let's see who forces it. I guess.
Well, Copeland recovered it.
Yeah, I guess it's Gerald Dixon, 51, who forced it. Now you got Jeff Blake and those weapons again. Again, it doesn't get much better than those kind of weapons in this kind of situation.
It would have been 4th and 4 for the Cardinals. Instead, the Bengals with a minute 10, and they get to work in Cardinals territory. Darnay Scott, a gain of 15 yards. Clock stopped with a minute 5 remaining.
And Aeneas Williams is hobbling. Aeneas Williams is hobbling. Now the Bengals are going to have an even better advantage if, in fact, Williams isn't able to continue and play.
And the Cardinals forced to call their final timeout.
It looked like he blew out his calf. He tried to change direction. He was thinking Darnay Scott on the deep route. And when you plant and change direction, sometimes your calf goes. Yeah, I mean, it's not there, but when your calf goes, it feels like a twinge, and then all of a sudden you realize, hey, something's wrong, and you reach down.
So neither team with any timeouts remaining. That fumble recovery was the first of John Copeland's 5-year NFL career, and it could not have come at a more opportune moment.
If Aeneas Williams pulled his calf, he won't be back out. And as you said, that's freakish. Larry Centers fumbling, Aeneas Williams hurting himself. Now the tide has definitely turned in the favor of the Bengals, because they've still got a minute 5, and they're going to have some mismatches at the cornerback position. They're going to have either Darnay Scott or Carl Pickens matched up with Tito Paul.
6 defensive backs in the game, Tim, for the Cardinals. 3 wide receivers set.
It's Darnay Scott matched with Tito Paul.
Wait, hit Scott again.
Yeah, they took advantage of it. Tito Paul had the underneath, Kwame Lassiter had the over the top, and Blake had the time from his offensive line to find Darnay Scott. And they stopped the play. So not only did they beat the defense, they beat the clock.
And their 2 offensive plays have eaten up only 11 seconds. From the Cardinals, 27. Blake to the outside. Pickens forced out. Now the Cardinals, 14-yard line.
Talk about going to your big weapons. That's a big weapon. That's a spectacular play. Once again, Tommy Knight had good coverage. Blake threw the ball perfectly. Pickens fought for it and brought it down. And now they're on the threshold of a score. Look at this. The coverage isn't bad. Knight is right there, but the ball is delivered perfectly. And you go to the guy you can most rely on, and that's Carl Pickens.
Scott in motion. Blake throws it out of the end zone.
Pass interference. Brent Alexander interfered with the tight end, Tony McGee. That's going to give him first down on the 1-yard line.
And Blake could not find anyone. He threw it out of the end zone, yet the penalty call on Alexander.
Oh, so they're going to pick the flag up.
Ball was uncatchable.
Yep, because as you said, the ball was uncatchable, so now they'll pick that flag up.
So it was from the Cardinals, 14.
We'll see if we get a chance to see it. There's McGee, there's the interference. Well, I'll tell you, I don't know. If there's no interference, I don't know if that ball is uncatchable. It's unlikely.
Blake had hit on 8 consecutive passes prior to that one. 47 seconds remaining. Darnay Scott in motion. Blake to Pickens. To the Cardinals 6-yard line.
And they beat the clock again. Carl Pickens not only uses his great ability to get open and catch the ball, he uses his size and his strength to get out of bounds and stop that clock.
There's Larry Centers, who coughed up the football just moments ago. On 3rd down, from the 6 to the end zone, touchdown Bengals! Blake to Pickens, and Cincinnati takes the lead.
The worst feeling in the world and the best feeling in the world. The best feeling for Carl Pickens and Jeff Blake to bring this team back. The worst feeling in the world for Larry Centers, who fumbled that ball and gave him the time in which to do it. A heart-rending tragedy for Larry Centers. That sticks in your craw and you can't get rid of it.
And the Bengals will go for two. Looking to make it a three-point game. Blake lofts it up for Tony McGee. He hangs on. Two-point conversion. Tremendous catch by McGee with Jameer Miller all over him. And the Bengals lead is 24-21.
This Cincinnati team snatched that thing right away from Arizona. Vince Tobin and his guys could taste it. They could taste it. And now it's gone. It's like a snow cone halfway to your mouth and somebody steals it from you. Here's Pickens on the touchdown. He beats Knight to the inside. And then he celebrates. And then you see Jeff Blake. Talk about a quarterback with the X factor. A quarterback people believe in. 13 for 17 and a touchdown in the fourth quarter. And then here's the two-point conversion. Just shows you that nothing could go wrong. Look at that. How about the concentration by Tony McGee to put them ahead by 3, so that even if the Cardinals get a field goal, it's a tie score.
Despite the unsuccessful onside kick moments ago, despite using all of their timeouts.
Yeah, I mean, they got away with it. I mean, that onside kick was the worst I've ever seen. But now it doesn't matter. Now Bruce Coslin can say, hey, I don't care about an onside kick. Doesn't matter. My big guns came up when I needed them most. Jeff Blake, Carl Pickens, Darnay Scott.
Bengals lead for the first time today. Kevin Bowie from the 4. Bowie to the outside. Forced out at the 30-yard line. So now the Arizona Cardinals, with no timeouts remaining, have 31 seconds to try and either reach the end zone or get into field goal territory to try and tie the game.
And the way this game's been going, you certainly can't call it over. Because again, Kent Graham has some weapons in Frank Sanders and in Robert Moore.
Stunning fourth quarter here in Cincinnati. 4 wide receivers for the Cardinals as Graham fires downfield. It was deflected by the rookie, Tremaine Mack. The Cardinals led 21-10 with 2.5 minutes remaining. Kajana Carter scored his second touchdown of the quarter. Larry Centers fumbled on a third down run. Bengals recovered and have taken the lead. Graham on second down, hit from behind.
It's the rookie, Renard Wilson. And the amazing thing about it is he beat Lomas Brown. One of the best in the business. Everything's going right for the Cincinnati Bengals. When the tide turns in your favor, sometimes you just become unstoppable.
Third down and 10. Graham looking for more. Corey Sawyer on the coverage. It will be fourth down and the final chance for the Arizona Cardinals.
Sawyer doesn't just make the play, he punished him. There's Pickens bringing the crowd into it.
That will be it. 10 seconds remain on the clock. Cardinals lose it on downs. Stunning fourth quarter comeback here in Cincinnati as Bruce Coslin will make it a perfect 6-0 as Bengals head coach. The Cardinals have blown a 21-3 fourth quarter lead. The Cincinnati Bengals who scored more fourth quarter points than any other club in the National Football League last season, outscored the Cardinals 21-0 in the fourth quarter this afternoon. And they make it 1-0 of the 1997 season. Larry centers the costly fumble. Bengals over the Cardinals 24-21. JB and the gang will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights on the NASDAQ Stock Market Postgame Show in just a moment. Kenny Albert and Tim Green saying so long.